Hello everyone, I wanted to do a video to showcase my Air Max 1 Bespokes. It's taken me a little while because I got these quite a while ago now, but I wanted to start with an unboxing. So you get, or at least I got, a lovely box to protect the box so that I don't have to get the box damaged. It's got my name written in cursive, which is very nice. And then we'll pull out a plain black box. It's got a label which has got some of my details and stuff on, so you get a custom printed label which is nice on the bottom. And then inside the box itself, it's a good sturdy cardboard by the way, you get plenty of stuff. So these, this won't obviously come with everyone's Bespoke, so my starting point for my design was these grey and yellow kind of workman's gloves, and I knew I wanted to do something with that kind of shade of yellow, that kind of golden shade of yellow. So I had those. You get a couple of pairs of laces. This one's currently two colours just because I've got alternate ones in there to show you. So that's wolf grey and dark grey I went with for my laces. You also get a custom tag. So if I hold that up there, you can see hopefully it's done in whatever colours you want, whatever materials you want, which is very nice. You also get a load of swatches for each of the materials that you use on your shoe, as well as just being a cool thing to have. These are actually very useful if you want to use any waterproofing sprays, like for example I've liquid proof mine. I've done a couple of coats of liquid proof on mine here, this stuff, liquid proof. I've got a couple of coats of that on there just because I found it to be the best. I'm not affiliated to them in any way, but I did do some tests a while ago. If you look back through my videos, you'll be able to see them. So I've put a couple of coats of that on there, and those swatches are very useful for that. And then the shoes themselves, I'll get to those in a second. And then also we've got bits of paperwork, just any kind of flyers, business cards, as well as the original sketch, which I'll show you for my shoes. The original sketch is, I mean, it's not coloured in, it's all kind of handwritten and stuff, but it tells you, you know, what you want to do on each area. It's a really nice thing to have in addition, and also for quite a long while the shoes are being made up, this is the only thing you have, because it takes them a few months to actually make the shoes once you've finalised your design. So that's all the stuff that comes in the box. The shoes themselves, they come in this clear plastic bag. I've got a feeling this is probably meant to be just for the initial, you know, when you get your shoes from the shop. Thereafter, you're probably meant to put them just in these suede dust bags, but I've been using this bag as well because I think, well, it doesn't do any harm. So these dust bags, I think they're real suede. They certainly feel nice and kind of premium-y. And each one's kind of a drawstring bag, and obviously you've got one for each shoe. So these go over them, and then you've also got inside each shoe a really nice kind of quality, very heavy wooden shoe tree, which helps keep the shape. But they're just really good quality, shoe trees. I'll show you them. Sadly, these don't get personalised. They do have Nike written on them, but they don't actually have any initials or anything on them, which is a shame. But you know, they're still very nice, and you know, who's ever going to see them apart from you, really? So I'll leave those in there just while. Actually, no, I'll tell you what, I'll take them out because I want to show you the insoles. I'll take both of those out. Okay, so these are my Air Max 1 Bespokes. Let me just put the old laces inside for a second. I'll show you them from kind of all angles. So I initially started designing these in December 2016. Like I said, it's taken me a while to do this video. I finalised the design in early January 2017, and they arrived with me end of March 2017. So these are the old shape. I know people who've been following Bespokes know that there's a new shape in town. Personally, I'm actually really happy with how these have turned out. I mean, shape is one aspect of how a shoe looks. There's plenty of other aspects to it too, but it's an important one for a lot of people, a lot of sneakerheads. I'm very happy with the shape on mine. I think when these are on foot, and I have worn these a couple of times now because it's, like I say, it's taken me a while to make this video. I've obviously cleaned them after I've worn them. You can see they're still very good condition. All the nipples are still there. I've literally worn them twice out, but it was all day both times. Yeah, the shape I'm really happy with personally. I mean, it's a personal thing. If I was doing another pair, which I intend to do, then I absolutely would probably do the new shape, just because why not if it's available. But the fact that the new shape, you know, the more rounded shape wasn't available when I was doing these didn't put me off at all, and I'm really happy with how they've turned out. So the overall kind of idea was that I wanted to do a shoe which, you know, if you looked at it and I asked you what the colour was, you'd say it was grey and yellow, but without having any major panel of the shoe actually be yellow and keep the yellow in the details, basically. So that was my, you know, the biggest single piece of yellow anywhere on here is the tip of the outsole, and that's literally, you know, what's that, maybe 8% of the total outsole is yellow, and that's the biggest bit of yellow on the shoe. Yet when you look at them, you can clearly see there's plenty of yellow on there and plenty of detail. I wanted to pack in tons and tons of details as well, so I'm going to go through them all. So first of all, the tongue logo label. So this, first of all, I don't think anyone else, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think anyone else has done their tongue labels the same way as me. Most Air Max tongue labels are joined onto the top, so you don't get this top run of stitching here. Normally, the label joins in to the top of the tongue. I've floated mine down a bit because I wanted to have that gap and I wanted to have the square runs of stitching around. So that's kind of one thing that I was a bit particular about with these. Also, you'll see that the colours are reversed, so you've got yellow writing and a grey swoosh, and here you've got grey writing and a yellow swoosh. Another thing is that the same kind of thing's been applied to the heels. So you've got yellow writing and a grey swoosh, grey writing and yellow swoosh, and that's reversed on each shoe. So this left shoe has the yellow writing on the heel, grey writing on the tongue, and this right shoe has grey writing on the heel, yellow writing on the tongue. So again, they're kind of swapped around between the shoes. What else have we got here? Oh yeah, so the quarter colours and the swoosh colours. So you can see here, on one side of each shoe, we've got the wolf grey quarter with the dark grey swoosh and the yellow outline on them. And then on the flip side of each shoe, we've got the dark grey quarter with the wolf grey swoosh and again the yellow outline. And on both of them, you can see that the stitching is the reverse colour. So on the wolf grey swoosh, I've got the dark grey stitching. On the dark grey swoosh, I've got the wolf grey stitching, and same on the quarter. So, but it's less noticeable because I've got the perforations. It kind of draws the eye away from the stitching a lot more, having the dots. So on the wolf grey quarter, you've got dark grey stitching. On the dark grey quarter, slightly more visible, you've got the wolf grey stitching up there. The top eyelet section I've done is basically different on each shoe in terms of the combination with the quarter. So on so just going back with the quarters and the swooshes, that is right side and left side. So this is the lateral side of the right shoe, medial side of the left shoe. When you switch them around, you've got medial side of the right shoe, lateral side of the left shoe. So this is literally whether you're looking at the shoes from the left or whether you're looking at the shoes from the right, you've got the different colour quarters and swooshes. Other details are kind of flipped on each shoe, so they're lateral or more kind of to do with lateral or medial, and one of them is the top eyelet here. So I've got the safari print on the lateral sides with the yellow eyelets, and then I've got the dark grey nubuck on the medial side, and it's a grey eyelet, but you can probably see it's got yellow stitching around there, figure of 8 stitching around the eyelet, and that's the same on the other shoe as well. And so in combination, on this right shoe, this safari print with the yellow eyelet goes with the dark grey. On the other shoe, it goes with the light grey because of the way they switch. Some stuff's lateral medial, but some stuff left and right. So you get different combinations on each shoe as well. contrast stitching areas. So I wanted to have contrast stitching in the shoe. In truth, it's a lot more subtle than I thought it would be in some places. So I've already talked about the swooshes, the dark grey having that. Also on the heel patch, I've got this is ostrich leather, I think, and that's got wolf grey stitching on the dark grey. The stitching on the mudguard is a bit darker. It doesn't really come out very much, to be honest. You can't really tell. So in truth, it's only really the dark grey areas with the wolf grey stitching are the ones that will come out best. So the dark grey nubuck here, the dark grey ostrich leather here, both of which have the lighter grey stitching, they've come out pretty well. I guess I haven't talked about materials on the shoe actually, so maybe I should do that quickly. So this is nubuck on the quarters. Safari print is leather. Sadly, they don't have safari print on any other fabrics at Bespoke. You can't have safari on suede or safari on nubuck, which is a shame because I would have loved to have it on nubuck. This is mesh, dark grey mesh, wolf grey mesh. Mudguard is premium suede, as is this top section here. This is that's nubuck as well. Lining is cashmere. Back of the tongue lining is waffle mesh. It's what they call waffle mesh, that yellow section. And I've got the same waffle mesh for the insole as well, which I'll get to in a minute. So, I've gone for full eyelets on mine. I know that's not a traditional Air Max 1 thing, but I wanted to have the eyelets contrasting with the quarter panel. So with the dark grey quarter panel, we've got wolf grey eyelets and then a yellow eyelet on the medial side. With the wolf grey, we've got the dark grey eyelets. It depends what laces I've got in as to what pops out more. I've got both laces in here just to show you, but obviously the dark grey laces make the wolf grey eyelets pop out against the dark grey nubuck, and the wolf grey laces make the dark grey eyelets pop out a bit more. I think I'm going to go for wolf grey in both. I've got both in here just kind of for illustration really, but I think I'm going to go for wolf grey laces in both. And then the tips of the laces, by the way, are all, you probably saw when I was messing about earlier, but the tips of the laces are all the same university gold as well. So when they're kind of tied up on the shoe, just sitting there, and because these are metal, you have to be a little bit careful when you tie your lace bow, just to make sure that these don't reach all the way down to the debris, because otherwise they have this annoying habit of just hitting them constantly, which I imagine will chip them if if you just let it do it every time you wear them. Not that you're going to wear a pair of shoes like these very often, but still. So yeah, I did debate a bit whether to have this yellow eyelet on the lateral side or the medial side, because I've seen a lot of people who do Bespokes quite often have a single eyelet and have it on the lateral side for a colour pop, and it looks very nice. The only thing was I felt that there was already a lot more yellow on the lateral side, because this panel comes back further on that side than it does on that side. Plus I've also got the mini swoosh on the lateral side as well. Plus I've got more baseball stitching on the lateral side on this one. So I just figured I'd do it on the medial side just to add a bit of yellow into that side as well, because there wasn't anywhere near as much. This stitching's not anywhere near as noticeable as the mini swoosh and stuff, so that's why I did that. I've also got baseball stitching personal to me, so I've got on the left side of both shoes, I've got 2 baseball stitches on the heel. On the right side, I've got 3 baseball stitches on the heel. I wanted to, originally, I was hoping to have different colour crosses. I was hoping to have maybe some wolf grey crosses and then one yellow one in the middle or one yellow one at the end. Sadly, you can't do that. You can't alternate the colours. You can only have one colour thread for your baseball stitching. But you can vary the amount of crosses you have, so you don't have to have it all the way down the panel if you don't want to. And I think you can have these panels done here as well. Embroidery, I've got, this is the date of my daughter's birth, and then on the other shoe I've got a number which is the distance to the moon and back in miles, because Guess How Much I Love You was one of her favourite books when she was really, really small that I used to read her. So that's kind of a nice thing for me, really. It'd be a nice thing to tell her, hopefully, when she's a bit older as well. I've got more embroidery on the insoles, so let me just pull the laces out. I'll show you, I've got my initials on there. So the insole for the, let me just check, you can see this. The insole for the left shoe is dark grey with yellow lettering, and then this side is obviously yellow with grey lettering and my initials on there. I've also got my initials on the lace debris as well. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see. Let me hold it up, but that's there's a J on that one, and there's an H on this one. As well as that, I did the tongue loops in a contrasting colour to the tongue material. I mean, it's not really a noticeable detail, to be honest with you, but you can see the tongue loop that the lace goes through, that's dark grey. The actual tongue itself is wolf grey. It's probably one of the more insignificant details on the shoe, if I'm completely honest, but you know, I very much like it. And then I've got the painted window ledge, I guess it's called. So the area around the air bubble, I'm not sure if you can see, but the sole itself is wolf grey, the area around the air bubble is dark grey, and then the air bubble itself is obviously university gold, it's yellow. I personally, I really like light coloured air bubbles. I've got a bit of a problem with dark ones. I know I've seen some shoes that use dark ones. They look okay, but for me, the point of a window is to let light in. You know, the point of a window is to make things brighter. So if you go and cram a black air bubble in there or a dark coloured air bubble, you know, you're making it harder to see everything, and that's not the point. There's no point having this clear plastic window there. Then you might as well just get rid of it because it's not really a detail anymore as far as I'm concerned. So and it's just personal preference, but I really like light coloured, bright coloured air bubbles in there, or it doesn't have to be coloured, but just white or clear or even silver I think look good. But things like black, dark brown, navy blue, I just, even dark grey, I just don't think they make any kind of feature out of the air unit on Nike Air kind of shoes. It's kind of pointless having them. Sole. The other thing I guess with these shoes I should mention is I didn't want to have any white or black anywhere on them. So nothing on these shoes is white, nothing on these shoes is black. So the sole is wolf grey, and that's a matte finish on that. And I think, I might be wrong, but I was told when I did them that was new. That was a new kind of thing to have the matte grey finish on the sole. So I'm very pleased I had that. And then obviously we've got University Gold, wolf grey, and then dark grey on these two panels here, so that nothing's black. I mean, I don't mind black outsoles, but I just think dark grey looks a lot nicer. What else? There is one bit of the shoe that I wish I'd been able to do, and that's these little diagonal flashes on the sole there. I wish I'd been able to get those painted. I did ask, and I was told I wasn't able to. I wanted to have one dark grey and one university gold, especially on this side, just because it would have added a little bit more yellow onto the medial side, which I feel is kind of got less of the detail on it. So that's a bit of a shame. I know I could do it myself, but I'm terrible at that kind of thing, so I've avoided it because I just didn't want to ruin them. So yeah, if you're thinking of doing a pair of Bespokes, I would absolutely 100% recommend it. I've been really, really happy with these. I've worn them, like I say, a couple of times. I am going to be wearing them. I don't buy shoes just to keep them in the box. I don't think that's the right thing to do. And these are, incredibly comfy. They're quite heavy, I guess, because of the premium materials. They're not as light as a normal pair of Air Max 1s, and Air Max 1s aren't the lightest shoes anyway. So they are a bit on the heavy side because you've got, loads of extra kind of premium materials on there, and they're just really well made, to be honest. They feel really sturdy. So it's not a cheap thing to do here in the UK. If you go to the place in London, it's 750 quid. So it's absolutely a treat. It's not something that you're ever going to, unless you're rich, it's not something you're ever going to do lots of. But there's only two places in the world where you can do it. At the time I'm making this video, there's London and there's New York. So if you are a sneakerhead living in either of those two cities, then you know, and you've got the money, you should absolutely do it, because it's a fantastic experience. It's just an amazing, you know, amazing thing to do, and the whole kind of time you spend doing the designing, going backwards and forwards, making decisions, all of that just feels like the closest thing you're ever going to get to making a real kind of general release, well, not general release, but, you know, making a real kind of pair of shoes with Nike that's going to release. You know, you've got control over pretty much everything. There are very few kind of things that are off limits, and they'll tell you what those are. You know, there's certain things like you can't play around too much with their branding, or at all, I don't think, and you can't make a what the pair and all that kind of stuff. But other than that, you can do pretty much what you want. So yeah, I've been insanely happy with these. I would 100% recommend it to everybody. You should all, you know, get involved where you can. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And sorry it's taken me a little while to get around to making the video. Cheers.